Hello everyone, this is Piyush. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will show you how much I spent in the month of September 2024, what is the cost of living in New Jersey, and how you can budget your money properly to stay on top of your financial game. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. Instead of throwing out a random number at you, I will show you exactly how much I spend living in New Jersey, and I will show you by each category whether it's rent, traveling, eating out, and so on. So stay tuned and let's get into it. I have divided my expenses into 6 categories that starts with rent, utilities, eating out, groceries, miscellaneous, and traveling. It's a natural tendency for people to think that it's very expensive to stay in the US, whether it's in New York, New Jersey, California, or any other state in the US. But that's not the complete truth, because you will even start earning money whether it's in your internship, your part time during your masters, or when you start earning full time. You will be easily able to cover your expenses, pay out all your loans if you have got any, and also save on top of that. We think that it's very expensive to stay in the US because we usually compare it to our home currency, and if you start comparing every expenses to our home currency, you will naturally think that it's very expensive. For example, I spend $1,000 a month on rent, so that converts into 80 or 90,000 Indian rupees. So people get frustrated by that and they think that they can never afford it, but again, that's very far from the truth. And I will show you exactly how I budget my money by each categories and how much you can actually spend, and realistically what's the number that you can expect when you come to the US. This video is specifically for people who are planning to stay in the state of New Jersey, because this will show exactly the numbers that I'm spending right now. But for the other states, it's not too much of a difference. It might change based on the state taxes or some of the rents, but most of the time it's in the same ballpark. The first component of my budget is rent. This will constitute a major chunk of your budget, so you have to plan it carefully. This might take around 30 or 40% of your income if you find a good one, and it will differ based on your situation in the US. If you are a student, you will typically get an apartment for around $500 to $1,000. If you are willing to share your room with other people, or if you want a private room, you can expect anywhere around $1,000 or $1,300, and you will get a good spacious room in New Jersey compared to New York. Like if you find an apartment in New York, the price will be same, but you will get a very small room. So if you can commute to New York from New Jersey, it's preferred that you stay in New Jersey, get a big room for the same cost, and commute to New York if it's around 30 or 40 minutes. I don't think that's a big time for traveling. If you are a student, you can find apartments through various ways, such as WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups. You can reach out to seniors on LinkedIn to find which areas are safe and what's the rent you can expect, and they might really help you out because they have actually stayed here, so they will give you a realistic picture of what you can expect staying in New Jersey. New Jersey is a huge state, so you don't want to stay very far away because your university might be, say, in New Jersey, like almost near New York. So you want to make sure you don't stay too far because you have to go for lectures. If it's winter, then it might get difficult to travel. And if you are a working professional, it depends on your lifestyle, like whether you want to stay in a studio, whether you have some people whom you know and you want to get a 3 bedroom or 4 bedroom apartment where everyone has their own private room. This is what I'm doing currently. Like I have 3 of my friends who were at my same university, so we are already friends and it's easier to stay together. So my total expenses for rent in the month of September 2024 was $1,125, because as I said, I'm working full time right now, so I have my own private room. But when I was a student, it was not in New York, it was back in Purdue in Indiana. So the most that I have paid per month is around $410 or $420, which is really less because of the low cost of living in Indiana. But even in New York, you can find a good sharing apartment in the range of, say, $600, $700, or $800. The second component in my budget is utilities, and it is related to the rent. So you have to pay for utilities separately in most of the apartments. There are very less apartments who have utilities included in the rent. For our apartment, we get separate bills for water, gas and electricity, and Wi-Fi. For Wi-Fi, we spend $90 per month. For gas and electricity, the bill is typically around $150 or $200, and for water, the bill is typically around $100 to $150. This amount is for the entire apartment and not per person. So that's one of the advantages of staying with other people, that the utilities bill is split among everyone. If you stay in a studio, you have to pay all the bill by yourself, but if you are living in a group of 3 or 4 people, the bill is split into all the people, which reduces the cost of utilities. Typically, the utilities bill for me comes out to be $50 to $80 per month, and for the month of September 2024, it was $88.62. The third component in my budget is groceries. This is one of the categories where I don't like to make any compromises because this is for my own health. I won't suggest anyone to get less vegetables, less fruits, or don't spend on this, don't spend on that. So it's really important to spend on groceries if it's keeping you healthy, if you're not eating junk because you are away from your family. So you want to make sure you cook as much as you can and stay healthy and stay fit. Typical budget that I set aside for groceries is $200 per month, which I think is more than sufficient whether you are a student, whether you are a full time. It might change based on, again, if you are sharing the grocery bill with other people or you are just getting the groceries for yourself. But even as a student, I used to spend around 100 $150 per month on an average, and now I'm working full time, so at max it goes around 180 or $190 per month. The total that I have spent for groceries in the month of September 2024 is $147.56. This includes everything from fruits, vegetables, rice, chapati, and all the groceries that I typically need in any given month. I am $50 under budget, but as I mentioned, I am not frugal on this. If I am low on groceries, I just go ahead in any grocery store, stock it up, and spend on that. The fourth component in my budget is traveling. This is my personal favorite, and no matter whether you are a student, whether you are working full time, or you are in your internship, I would highly recommend you to visit as many places as you can because this is a great time. This is a great country to travel in. Like, there are a lot of states where you can travel, visit lot of tourist attractions, and especially if you are staying in New Jersey, like you have Statue of Liberty, Times Square, Empire State, and all the other fancy tourist locations, like almost 30 or 40 minutes. So don't only stay at home, don't only study 100% of the time. Go ahead, get your mind freshened out, and you will love all your time out there. And these are the memories that you will store in your brain when you get old. So don't compromise on traveling out. Get that rental car. If you have a group of people, that's good, but if you don't have anyone, just go ahead, go alone, go for walks, go to any tourist attractions, get a rental car, go for a long drive, and so on. Most of my traveling expenses goes in traveling by subway because I have to commute from New Jersey to New York, so it typically takes $5 per day. So that turns out to be, if I go for work 20 days a month, that turns out to be around $100. So 100 or $150 is my expenses for traveling just for work. And on top of that, like, I might sometimes get rental car. So for example, in the month of September 2024, I went to Niagara Falls by car with a friend. It was a really fun time, and I have a separate blog for that. You can go and check it out right here. We had a great time, and the second component of my budget typically includes all the rental cars or flights that I take whenever I get a break. So the budget that I have set aside for traveling is $300 per month, and for the month of September 2024, I spent $243.64. So I'm under budget by around $60 in this category, even after going out for car trips, spending on subways for my work, and so on. The fifth category in my budget is eating out. This is one of the categories where people typically spend a lot. They go out to eat every day or every weekend, and I wouldn't recommend you that because first, it's very unhealthy. You have a lot of junk foods in New York, and second is it might get too expensive. So you should have a proper budget set aside for eating out and follow a discipline when it comes to this category. A typical meal might cost anywhere from $10 to $20. It might even go 30, 40 or more dollars if you go to some fancy restaurants in New York. But at the same time, it's important you try out new foods because you would get tired cooking all the time and eating the same food. So sometimes it's good for your taste buds to try new foods, especially new cuisines. Like, one of the advantages of staying in New York or around New York is that you will have all the cuisines there. So you can try Mexican food, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, or any other cuisines for that matter. So just give it a try, go out with friends and enjoy your time eating out, but at the same time have that discipline to make sure you are not overspending in this category. So in the month of September, we went to various places. Like I went to a restaurant named Mejwani, which serves Maharashtrian food. Second, I went to Kathiawadi, which gives a good thali. The budget that I have set aside for eating out is $150 per month. So even if you go out to eat every weekend, I think $150 or $200 per month is sufficient to meet your eating needs. For the month of September 2024, I spent $86.51 compared to my budget of $150. I went to eat out a lot, but still I was under budget in this category. So I have that balance of cooking at home as well as eating out to try new cuisine. So even you should think about it, see what number matches you for eating out and try to have a good budget so that you don't overspend in this category. The sixth and last category in my budget is miscellaneous expenses. This typically includes all the costs that can't be categorized in any of the categories I mentioned above, whether it's rent, utilities, groceries, eating out, and so on. My miscellaneous expenses typically might include any emergency expenses I might incur if I spend something on shopping, getting a new iPhone, etc. I have set aside a budget of $500 per month, which I think is sufficient. You might not spend all the $500 in any given month, but I think it's good to have that buffer where even if you incur some emergencies or you spend on some tickets or shopping, you have enough money and you are still under budget. As I mentioned, the budget that I have set aside for miscellaneous is $500 per month. But for the month of September 2024, I spent around $1,764, which is more than triple the budget that I have set aside. But this is mainly due to the iPhone that I got in this month. Like I got a new iPhone 16 Pro because my old phone, that is 13 Pro, was broken. The display was broken, so I had to get a new one, and this miscellaneous expenses included this cost. Apart from that, it also includes subscription cost for Canva and I think CapCut, because I usually make videos on YouTube, so I have to edit the videos well for you guys to deliver high quality videos, and I don't like to compromise on that because these are my necessities. Your necessities might be different, so don't compromise on that. If you need some subscriptions that might help you or might develop you, go ahead and spend on that. So adding all the categories that I just mentioned, my total budget that I have set aside comes out to be $2,335, and the total that I have spent in the month of September 2024 is $3,456. So I'm over budget by around $1,100, which is a lot, and this is typically not the case. If you have seen my earlier videos, I usually am under budget by $500 or $1,000. This month was different because I went out to travel to Niagara Falls, as I mentioned. I got a new iPhone, so the main reason that I was over budget was getting this iPhone. I also had some subscriptions that I have got, whether it's Walmart, Canva Pro, CapCut, etc. So to be honest, this was the most expensive month for me since I came to the US. This is not a typical month, but on an average, living in New Jersey, I spend around, you can say, $1,700 or $1,800 per month, and this is a good range for you to consider. If you are a student, this amount might decrease a bit, but on an average, like, this is a good ballpark that you can consider before coming to the US, or if you are looking to move to New Jersey. I hope this video helps you give a layout of what costs you can expect living in New Jersey or any other state in the US. Feel free to comment down if you have any queries or need me to share my Excel sheet that I use for budgeting my money. Please feel free to check out my other videos on budgeting, finance, or even interviews that I conduct. Like and subscribe my channel if you find my content useful. Thank you again for watching this video. Until next time.